MLS is a really good league. It's not the EPL, but nobody's asking it to be. The EPL is not asking to be La Liga. La Liga is not asking to be Bundesliga, right? They're all different leagues. They all have their strengths. They all have their weaknesses. And MLS is no different. Also, MLS has the luxury of being just 30 years old, while those other leagues are 150 years old.
Yeah.
They have a little bit of longevity. And people think they are the best because they've listened to, there is a group like me who remembers when there was no MLS, but there was a Premier League and there was a La Liga. So they have that longevity in the mind of everybody. And everyone thinks of Europe. I don't care what you think. Deep down, everyone, when they say Europe, they mean one of those big leagues. They don't mean Belgium. They don't mean the Netherlands. They don't mean second division Bulgaria. They don't mean Serie B. They mean the 5 big leagues that we all think of. Portugal is another example. We had so many guys in Portugal, and they couldn't get call-ups to save their life, and people were like, well, why aren't you calling up this guy? He's playing in Portugal. He's really good. You don't know that because you're not watching it. Like, it's not on TV. That you have to find a stream you have to find a stream of a guy at the game streaming it with their camcorder like we did in the movies. So my overall point is that MLS is good, and the reason why I know that is because CONCACAF is way better now than it was 10 years ago, because all of those countries are sending their players here to play in Major League Soccer to get better. Now, there should be a balance, but I also think that people need to recognize that we are not reinventing the wheel here. Every team, all 8 or 9 teams that have won the World Cup, have done so with a strong domestic league and with players from that league on the team. So we can't have a full European squad. We tried that with Berhalter. It didn't work. We can't have a full MLS squad either, right? You have to have the balance. But you have to just find where the best players are and how they play together. And if someone has to go to Europe to do it, that's great. If someone stays here and does it, terrific. One of the best players of all time, Landon Donovan. He spent most of his years here in Major League Soccer, and it did not stop him from becoming the best player that this country has produced.
Yeah, and and again, that was MLS. I don't know, 1.0 or 2.0.
1.0, yeah, 1.3, whatever.
My timeline is not.
I don't know what beta system they're on now.
Yeah. But I think that the days of, you can't just assume that if they're going to Europe, oh well, then it must be an improvement, right? Like you said, I mean, going to the Dutch league or like even the Scottish Premier League. Okay, if you're not playing for Celtic and Rangers, and then Celtic and Rangers just kind of they just kind of take the piss out of everybody else anyway. So what's the difference? For sure, I think that it's just that, like you said, Aronson's a young guy, and it's like, it's that instant reaction is, he's coming home with his tail between his legs, and he's failed. But instead, like, well, you maybe get a little bit of credit for being smart enough to go somewhere and play, because a lot of these moves are. You might make a move to a club that really wants you to come in, but it's really the manager wanted you to come in. Now, if he's not there anymore, if he gets fired halfway through the season, he doesn't care about your World Cup prospects, right? It's like, look, like, I've got to turn this thing around. And if I don't turn this around by June, I don't have a job. So I don't really particularly care about, you getting called up to your net. You can just kind of get, you can get lost in the shuffle, very easily.
You bring up a great point, and a classic example of a coach kind of affecting some of these things, right? First of all, on one side, you have Juventus, where Wes McKinney has had to fight for his locker every single summer since he's gotten there, right? Different coaches, same coach, does not matter. They change his number, they don't give him a locker, he fights his way back into the team, he has a great season, rinse, repeat, right? That cycle has continued this year. You also have Malik Tillman, who just moved to Bayer Leverkusen, and they just fired Eric Ten Hag after 2 games.
2 games, yeah.
So what's which again, like, that's one thing, right? But that is the risk you take, because in Europe they will fire you after 2 games, and what are you left with?
Yeah.
A guy's going to come in and they could be like, I don't like this Tillman guy. Now he's here until at least January. I'm just going to pluck him on the bench, and he's not going to play because he's not the type of player that I go for. And now he's stuck, right? Because he went for a coach and he got fired. It happens in basketball all the time, too. We talk about it in college basketball all the time with the transfer portal. Guys following coaches everywhere because they know that coach believes in them. And you can't really do that in soccer all the time because there's way too much money involved. So those are the risks that you take. And again, sometimes it's about the league, it's about the team. And I think in Paxton's case, the fact that Zach Steffen there is a big boost because he knows they're coming by to see him every week, right? So as long as they're there, why don't you come see me too? That might be part of the calculus, but I obviously don't know that. But I think that is if it is part of the calculus, it's a strong move.